Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. If you guys noticed, I shaved today to the displeasure of my fiance, who prefers me with the beard, but it was getting bad. And working with food and I work with food, so when I go to the dining hall that I work at, if my beard gets too long, I have to wear a beard guard. And if you guys know, and if you guys don't, they're the itchiest thing on the whole planet. So today I'm going to be doing my list of 8. Instead of a list of 5, I'm doing a list of 8. I know I said, it's not Harry Potter related, don't worry, it's actually Batman related. And it's going to be my list of the Batman films from worst to best. I know I said with Harry Potter I wouldn't do that, because all the Harry Potter movies are good. I just like some of them more than others, but this time there's actually Batman movies that I do not like. Or one movie that I absolutely hate. You guys probably know what that one is. It's one that pretty much almost anybody hates. And the rest, and one that's meh, and the others that are good. So, at least the ones that I've watched. So, these are ones that I've watched. I'm not going to judge other Batman films or the animated Batman films, because I haven't seen them or haven't seen them in a while. So, here we go. My list of 8 from Batman movies from worst to best. So, number 8, like I said, it's no surprise. Number 8, the worst one, is Batman and Robin. Shouldn't have to say why this one's the worst, but if you guys don't know, from corny one-liners from Mr. Freeze, every other line is an ice-related joke, to horrible, cheesy action, terrible action sequences. I mean, the ice skates on the coming out of the bat suit belts. The horrible dialogue. I said it before. Nipples on the fucking bat suit. It's no wonder that the Batman movies went to an 8-year deep freeze. No pun intended. I mean, if there is one tiny little insignificant positive aspect to this movie, it's probably because that Joel Schumacher and George Clooney realized how horrible the movie was and apologized for it. Whether I forgive them or not is remained yet to be seen. So, number 7 is another no surpriser, the other Joel Schumacher Batman film, Batman Forever. While not as terrible as Batman and Robin, Batman Forever is where I see the series starting to go extremely downhill. The movie had a much lighter tone than the previous two, especially to Batman Returns, which was considerably darker and scared a lot of children and scared a lot of parents away from having their children see the movie. So they want to make this one more family-friendly, except Batman's not really meant to be family-friendly, but Warner Brothers wanted money. So it's not really as corny as Batman and Robin is. Val Kilmer tries to bring some seriousness to the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman, and that's one of the few saving graces to the movie. I mean, one thing I hate about it, I was never a big fan of Robin, especially the whiny teenager Robin, because kind of brings down the movie a little bit, as he does here, as he did in Batman and Robin. He's one of the many factors that brought that movie down. So, the next movie, number 6. See, this is where the line divides. After number 7 and number 8 are in a category of the Batman movies that are horrible. Now we get to the Batman movies that I think are good, just some are better than others, bringing the old Harry Potter Animal Farm logic back into it. So, number 6 for me is Batman Under the Red Hood. If you guys don't know, it's a DC Animated Universe project. If you guys don't know what DC Animated Universe is, it's this branch of the Detective Comics DC comic company that focuses on making animated features out of comic books. If you guys don't know, they are making Batman Year One, an animated movie, and they're in the process of making The Dark Knight Returns, which is going to be awesome because I love The Dark Knight Returns, and I also love Batman Year One, so it'll be really cool to see where they go with it. So, Batman Under the Red Hood, if you guys remember, I did a review of this a few weeks ago, or a month ago maybe, I don't know, I've lost count. So I'm not going to go into too many details about the movie. If you guys really want details about it, go watch the video. It's on my channel. More specific details about Under the Red Hood. It's a really good movie. It's really dark, really gritty for an animated film, The only aspect that's really truly missing from the film that makes it great, as makes the other Batman movies great, the other good Batman movies great, is sort of the dual nature of Bruce Wayne and Batman, which is sorely missing here. Because over 95% of the film, Bruce Wayne is spent as Batman and not as Bruce Wayne. So it's kind of something that's really amiss. So number 5 on the list is the original Batman movie, made in 1989, directed by Tim Burton. Now, this first Batman movie was released in the 80s, which was kind of an interesting period for The Dark Knight, in which they kind of tried to bring Batman back to his darker roots after spending the past few decades in a really, the typical, in a very corny, very lighthearted fashion. Try to return Batman to his much grittier roots. So, this is when you had The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller released. This is when you had Batman Year One, also done by Frank Miller, was released at this point also. But what made the film is a masterpiece. The first Batman film is really good, with really solid performances by surprisingly Michael Keaton, who makes a really good Batman, and a show-stealing Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I mean, it's pretty much law that if there is anything Batman related, the Joker has to steal the show, and Jack Nicholson does that really well. While there is a little bit of that typical Tim Burton quirkiness to it, I mean, like that kind of visual flair, little quirky sense of things like not dialogue, but like humor and stuff like that, like comic booky little humor, stuff like that. That's really typical of Tim Burton stuff, and some really out of place Prince songs. Batman is a really good movie, and it's a really and it really does The Dark Knight justice. Now, number 4 on my list is Batman Begins. Now, after the disaster that was Batman and Robin, Christopher Nolan, who at that time I don't think didn't make a really big budget feature. Most of his movies at the time were really small independent films like Memento, which is really good. If you guys haven't seen it, I really recommend it. So the movie not only took The Dark Knight back to his darker roots, back to Batman, back to his grittier roots, it also popularized the concept of the reboot. I mean, after Batman Begins, you saw James Bond get a reboot. You see a whole bunch of other movies and other series get dark, gritty, serious reboots. Even things that really don't need dark, serious, and gritty reboots, It's even affected video games and books, while I do love Batman Begins and it's a great film, it is really kind of slow to start because, of course, it's the beginning. You have to see Bruce Wayne sort of evolve into the role of Batman, go through the training, go through the motions, and try to figure things out as Batman, which is kind of, which is sometimes really difficult to see because you really want to see Batman in action as Batman. Because, in the first Batman movie, it got right into the story. And it really didn't go much explaining into the backgrounds. And I can understand why Christopher Nolan wants to go into Batman's backstory, because that's not really something that is touched upon, But, in terms of the impact that it had on the movie industry, the impact, the fact that Batman Begins changed a lot of things the way that movies are done in terms of the reboot. And also just, this is the first movie we see Batman actually terrifying. No offense to the first 2 films, and especially in the last two, especially in Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, Batman wasn't really intimidating, wasn't really fearful, but it's something that could strike fear into the hearts of enemies. But here he does, and it's really awesome. So, number 3 on my list is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is based on the animated series, the really awesome animated series with Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker. Probably one of the more definitive versions of The Dark Knight. And the film, the film is really dark for something that's based off a children's television show, which in itself was actually kind of dark now that I think about it. But it tackles these themes as love, betrayal, death, revenge, and heartbreak better than most live adaptations of the Batman, at least the ones before that, and most live action dramas in general. And they of course they have to kind of simplify enough for kids to understand it. They don't dumb it down enough that adults won't be able to appreciate the complexity of the issues and the complexity of the movie. And it's a really fantastic film. And it's really worth watching if you guys are really huge Batman fans, especially if you love the animated series. The Mask of Phantasm is definitely a must-watch. Now, number 2 was my favorite Batman film for the longest time, and it was Batman Returns, which was the sequel to the first Batman movie. It's much darker and less kind of quirky than the original than the first Batman movie was. Tim Burton really tried to push for a more darker edge to the story and a much more darker edge to the movie. And, this is the movie that kind of received a lot of backlash because of how dark it was. A lot of parents didn't want their kids seeing this, especially little kids. Let's think about it. I look at it now, it's the Penguin is actually pretty terrifying, and, there are very overly blunt sexual innuendos, especially with Catwoman, Catwoman is supposed to be a sexual presence, and Michelle Pfeiffer plays that to a T. And Danny DeVito plays the Penguin to the T, and of course Michael Keaton is fantastic as Batman, you know? And it's really fascinating to see that, you know? It's really like, this, it's a really awesome movie, just to bring that out there. So, number one, no doubt, no surprise, my personal feeling on the best Batman movie is The Dark Knight. I mean, it is brilliantly casted, you know, with mostly the same cast returning into the movie. The only difference of the casting was Maggie Gyllenhaal replacing Katie Holmes, which is, you know, a much improvement. But of course, the show stealer is Heath Ledger as the Joker, who is, you know, who I said in my last list video is my second favorite villain. Yeah, second favorite film villain, you know. And it was a movie that was just, it was more than just a Batman movie. It was a brilliantly woven crime story, you know? Very similar to, I don't know if you guys read the graphic novels, but if you read Batman The Long Halloween, a very similar concept like that, a very gritty crime drama that is certainly unfolding, you know, at the seams and tearing Gotham apart limb by limb. And, you know, it's a really brilliant film, and one of the things I really prefer, like, you know, this is kind of a side note, but one of the things that I didn't mention before that I just kind of thought of now, so kind of ad-libbing here, with Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, that you don't see in the other Batman mediums is, the fact is that in other Batman movies is that, you know, we kind of see a more father-son relationship between Alfred and Batman, because not many think about this, because Bruce Wayne's parents died when he was 8 years old. The rest of his life, he was essentially raised by Alfred, so... But in the other films, especially The Mask of Phantasm, you don't really see that. When The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, you really see Alfred as not just more than a butler, but a father figure to Bruce, you know, essentially his adoptive father. And, you know, that's a kind of an interesting concept that's really brought out in The Dark Knight and Batman Begins. So, that's pretty much it. That's my list for today. My next list video, I don't know, you know me, I like to plan these things at the last minute when I do my lists on. And, yeah, so I will talk to you guys next chance I get, whenever I am able to do a video. Sorry, just the way it has to be. It's probably going to be next Sunday, hopefully, you know. Knock on wood. If you guys don't see a video of me by Monday, then, you know, then you can send me a message saying, where's your video for Sunday? So, and that's my dog growling because I knocked on the door. So, alright guys, I will talk to you later and have a great week. Peace.